Hello, my Learnegizers, and welcome back to Learnegize, where you learn to strategize. A very happy new year to everyone there. I hope this new year brings lots of experiences, happiness, bliss, and blessings for all of you out there. All right. So I'm extremely sorry for posting my video so late. There's a big gap, I know, and I'll make sure that this is not repeated so that my Learnegizers don't find a void in their learning pattern. All right. So today we're going to do a poem from the class, from the ICSE 6th literature book, that is the Sparrow, and the name of the poem is The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. Now, this particular poem is based on the personal account of the poet who had met a mountain girl on his journey towards Scotland. So, she's an unknown girl. Okay, she's a mountain girl. She's an unknown young girl who doesn't know the author or the poet, and the poet doesn't know her. And she's singing in her regional language. She's singing a song in a regional language that is Scottish, but the poet gets attracted towards her melodious voice, and he's spellbound by the beauty of her voice. He feels that this girl sings even better than the nightingale, sings better than the cuckoo, and her voice fills the entire surroundings, the mountains and the valleys. Okay, so he recalls the beauty, or he recalls that melodious and harmonious sound or the voice of that girl who he had experienced on his journey. And he gives an account of this particular poem, or he gives an account of this particular experience that he had long time back, and ये experience अभी भी उसके लिए एकदम fresh है in his memories. So that is what the poem is all about. The solitary reaper. Solitary means soul, yani one. Okay, reaper is a person who's reaping the crops, cutting the crops. Okay, so that is what the poem is all about. So before we start with the line by line explanation, let's give it a good reading. The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself, stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grains and sings a melancholy strain, or listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travellers in some shady haunt among the Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matter of today? Some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again. Whatever the theme, the maiden sang as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. So this was a beautiful poem, or a personal account of the poem, The Solitary Reaper. Alright, so now let's start with the line by line explanation. Behold her, single in the field. Behold her. See, look at that girl. Single in the field. She's standing all alone in the field. Yon solitary highland lass. Lass means a girl. Yon means, that. So he's pointing and he's saying, look at that girl, that highland, that mountain girl who's standing there all alone in the fields, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Reaping and singing by herself. Reaping means cutting the crops, and singing by herself. So she's doing her job. She's doing a job of cutting the crops, and she's singing to herself. अपने आप में वो गाना गा रही है और अपना काम enjoy कर रही है. Stop here or gently pass. This last line of this para is addressed to the passerbys. Okay, the people who are moving around, the people who are passing this girl. So the poet says either stop here or gently pass or move about or move away from this place very gently without creating any disturbance or sound so that the girl gets disturbed. तो वो इतना attracted है उसकी beautiful voice से कि he says कि या तो आप खड़े होकर शांति से सुनिए उसके गाने को कि आप शांति से चले जाइए यहाँ से. So this last line is addressed to the people or the passers-by. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Melancholy means sad. Strain is a song here. So she's just standing there cutting and binding the grains. Cutting and binding the grains is a part of the job. Okay, she is there to reap the crops. So she's cutting them, she's binding them in bundles, and she's singing this melancholy song all by herself. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. Vale means the valley. So he says, oh, listen, the vale profound. Profound means that deep valley is overflowing with the sound, overflowing with her voice. Or rather, it's echoing with her voice. Her voice is so melodious that it is filling up the entire valley. So it is a hyperbole. The poetic device which is used here is a hyperbole. Because this deep valley is said to be overflowing with her sound. अब ये एक तरह से एक हाइपरबली मीन्स एन एग्जैजरेशन. जो एक नॉर्मल सिचुएशन है, एक नॉर्मल सिनेरियो है, उसको जब हम बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं तो उसको हम हाइपरबली कहते हैं पोएम्स की भाषा में. दैट द पोएट इज अट्रैक्टेड बाय हर वॉइस. ओके, एंड ही फील्स दैट इतनी अच्छी आवाज है उसकी कि वो चारों ओर गूंज रही है. That is what the last line means. So चारों ओर literally नहीं गूंज रही है, but this is just a way of expressing his appreciation towards her voice. Okay, so that is why it's an exaggeration or a hyperbole. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt among the Arabian sands. Nightingale, no nightingale did ever chant. Chant means sing. Nightingale is a bird we all know which symbolizes melodious voice. Okay, अच्छे गाने को nightingale से हमेशा compare किया जाता है. In other words, she is the symbol. Nightingale is a symbol of good voice, beautiful melodious voice. Okay, but he says even a nightingale has never sung such a melodious song to the weary bands of the travelers. Weary bands means tired group of travelers who might be traveling to some shady haunt. Shady haunt means a remote place, a distinct place, बहुत दूर जो यहाँ से चल के जा रहे हैं among the Arabian sands. Arabian sands means the deserts of Arabia. Okay, so इन 4 लाइनों का total meaning ये है that he is trying to say that जितने भी लोग जो ट्रैवलर्स हैं जो बहुत थके हुए हैं उन्होंने भी कभी भी नाइटिंगेल जो अरेबिया की तरफ या अरेबियन डेजर्ट्स की तरफ जा रहे हैं या बहुत दूर दूर की किसी ऐसे रिमोट एरियाज में जा रहे हैं तो उन्होंने भी कभी किसी नाइटिंगेल को भी इतना अच्छा गाना गाते हुए नहीं सुना. इन अदर वर्ड्स ही इज कंपेयरिंग द वॉइस ऑफ दिस इज माउंटेन गर्ल टू द वॉइस ऑफ द नाइटिंगेल, सेइंग दैट शी ओवरपावर्स द ब्यूटी और द मेलोडी ऑफ द नाइटिंगेल एज वेल. Okay, a voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird. Another bird which has been referred here in the poem is the cuckoo bird. Cuckoo bird sings in the spring season, okay, but such a thrilling voice, such an attractive voice or such as an attractive song has never been heard even by the cuckoo bird during the spring season. ना ही नाइटिंगेल इतना अच्छा गा सकती है, ना ही कुकू बर्ड इतना अच्छा गा सकती है जितना कि ये लड़की, ये माउंटेन गर्ल, ये पहाड़ी लड़की गा रही है in the mountains of Scotland. Breaking the silence of the sea among the farthest Hebrides. So Hebrides is an island which is based in the farthest area of Scotland. So he says, so they've never heard a cuckoo bird sing such a melodious song even in the springtime, breaking the silence of the sea among the farthest Hebrides. Personification has been used here where the sea has been personified, saying it is silent, sea said to be silent. तो वहाँ पे उसकी वॉइस इतनी अच्छे से गूंज रही है कि even the silence of the sea is broken and her voice reaches the edge of Scotland, that is Hebrides. तो mountains and valleys से लेकर the remote island जो कि Hebrides is from one end of Scotland to the other end of Scotland, her voice, her melodious voice can be heard. That is what the poet is trying to say here. अगेन द यूज ऑफ हाइपरबली, क्योंकि अगेन जैसे उन्होंने वैली के लिए बोला था उसकी आवाज पूरी वैली में गूंज रही, उसी तरह से उन्होंने बोला उसकी आवाज दूर दूर तक जा रही है, हर्ब्रिजीज आइलैंड तक भी जा रही है, यानी एंड ऑफ स्कॉटलैंड तक भी जा रही है, विच इज अनदर एग्जैजरेशन और अनदर वे ऑफ अप्रिशिएटिंग हर वॉइस. सो दिस इज अ हाइपरबली. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive number flows for an old, unhappy, far-off things and battles long ago. So he says, क्या मुझे कोई भी नहीं बताएगा कि वो क्या गा रही है, because she's singing in her regional language, she's singing in her Scottish language, जो कि poet को समझ नहीं आ रही है. The poet doesn't, he is not able to comprehend the language in which the girl is singing. He's trying to make guesses. Now we know that she is singing a sad song. But the poet doesn't understand the words, the lyrics of the song. So he's trying to make guesses कि वो किस वजह से इतना sad song गा रही है. One reason can be some old sorrow or some old problem that she might have faced long ago, जो कुछ battles हुई होंगी या कुछ ऐसे unforgettable losses that she might have faced. क्या वो उन पुरानी बातों के लिए गा रही है, or is it some more humble lay, familiar matters of today? Humble lay means some ordinary song. या तो वो किसी पुरानी चीज के लिए गा रही, पुरानी बातों की याद में गा रही है, या is it just any other ordinary sad song which she is singing for the matters of today? Matters of today यानी day to day problems, day to day lifestyle की वजह से जो हम एवरी डे कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स या सिचुएशंस फेस करते हैं, यू नो, काइंड ऑफ लाइफ दैट वी आर लिविंग. मे बी वी गेट बोर्ड ऑफ दैट सेम लाइफ, सेम मंडेन रूटीन दैट वी हैव. मे बी दैट गर्ल इज सिंगिंग फॉर दोज, यू नो, दैट मोनोटनी दैट हैज फिल्ड अप इन हर लाइफ. तो या तो वो किसी पुरानी बात के लिए गा रही है, some loss that she might have faced in her life which she still remembers, or is it just any other ordinary song that she's singing for her day-to-day problems or issues that she's facing? Some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again. मतलब ऐसी कोई sorrows या ऐसे कोई loss या कोई ऐसा pain है जो कि हमारी लाइफ में डे टू डे एवरी डे आते रहते हैं, जो हो चुका है और जो आगे भी हो सकता है. सो दो चीजें उसने गेस करी, या तो वो सॉन्ग किसी पुराने इश्यूज के लिए गा रही है, सम लॉस इन हर लाइफ, सम ट्रेजेडी दैट माइट हैव हैपेंड इन हर लाइफ व्हिच शी स्टिल रिमेंबर्स एंड व्हिच स्टिल क्रिएट्स अ पेन इन हर हार्ट, जिसकी वजह से इतनी ज्यादा डेप्थ उसके वॉइस में है. और इज इट दैट शी इज सिंगिंग regarding some day-to-day issues that keep happening or occurring or reoccurring in our lives every day, जो हो भी चुके हैं और जो आगे भी हो सकते हैं. So one thing that I would like to point out over here is that we know that the poet doesn't understand the language of this mountain girl. But then how does he know that she's singing a sad song? This particular instance in the poem emphasizes on the fact that music is powerful and music has no boundaries. Music needs no language. Okay, it can be felt, and that is the power of music. तो हमें म्यूजिक को समझने के लिए या इंजॉय करने के लिए किसी लैंग्वेज की ज़रूरत नहीं है. लैंग्वेज कैन नॉट बी अ बैरियर फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग म्यूजिक. उसको द पोएट इज नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट शी इज सिंगिंग, बट स्टिल ही कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट शी इज सिंगिंग अ सैड सॉन्ग, शी इज सिंगिंग अ सैड नोट. लेट्स कंटिन्यू. So the poet says, whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. He says, whatever the theme the maiden sang. Maiden means a young unmarried girl. So किसी भी reason से वो गा रही हो, whatever the theme might have been for her song that she was singing, as if a song could have no ending. वो ऐसे गा रही थी, she was so engrossed in her work and her song and her singing that it seemed that the song is eternal. It has no ending. वो हमेशा से चला आ रहा है और हमेशा के लिए चलता चला जाएगा. It is such a beautiful song. It's such a beautiful melodious voice that she has. So it seems as if she's singing an eternal song. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. Sickle is a tool used while you are reaping the crops. Okay, for cutting the crops. So he says, I saw her singing at her work. जब वो काम कर रही थी तब मैंने उसको गाते हुए सुना था while she was bending over the sickle. यानी वो अपना जब process of the work that she was doing, cutting of the crops, binding them together. So उस काम के बीच में she was singing this beautiful, eternal, everlasting song to herself. I listened motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. I listened motionless and still. Motionless and still यानी मैं एक जगह खड़ा होके I was just spellbound by her voice. So मैं एक जगह पे खड़ा होके उसके गाने को सुन रहा था. And as I mounted up the hill, बहुत देर तक खड़े होके सुनता रहा. But then I moved on, you know. Obviously he had to move on in his journey. As he mounted up the hill, जैसे जैसे वो ऊपर चढ़े अपनी journey पे, the music in my heart I bore. I bore yani I that music that I heard by that mountain girl had a place in my heart. It got engraved inside me. That music was so beautiful, so eternal, and so touching that I can still listen to it even after it is heard no more. अब मैं बहुत दूर आ चुका हूँ उस जगह से जहाँ पे वो लड़की गाना गा रही थी, but still I can listen to it. Why? Because it has touched my heart. I am touched by the beauty of her song. I am touched by the beauty of her voice. Such is the power of music, that the poet could feel or could listen to the song even long after he could not hear her literally. So that is what the poem is all about. An account of this beautiful girl, this mountain girl, unknown mountain girl that the poet met while on his journey towards Scotland. And she was heard singing a sad song in a Scottish language, which the poet did not understand, but he got attracted towards. The theme of the poem is the beauty or the power of music and the beauty and the power of nature. So that is all from me for this particular poem. I hope all your doubts are cleared. And in case you still have more doubts, feel free to comment in the comment section and I'll reply back as soon as possible. And please do subscribe if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, because very soon I'll be doing some worksheets for your practice before your final exam so that you can rise up on the graph of your marks. All right, thank you so much. Keep learning, keep enjoying, and make practical resolutions for the new year. Bye-bye. Take care.